What I think it's going to do is really shift higher education to think about ableism and think about the many ways disabled people are disadvantaged across higher ed. And that could be, faculty representation, that could be publishing, that could be, student access to leadership opportunities. There's many, many examples of where there are inequities that disabled people and other minoritized people encounter. My name's Amanda Kraus. I'm Assistant Vice President for Campus Life and Executive Director of Disability Resources. It took me until my late 20s to have any sort of awareness or interest in the disability community. Personally, that was because the narrative on disability is very negative. There's a lot of stigma. We're taught to hide disability, to be ashamed of it. These are the stereotypes that are very much alive and well, reflected in the media, reflected in our language. I mean, it's very consistent. The Disability Resource Center, the DRC, centralizes all disability access on campus to ensure that it's not just accessible to disabled people, but that it's really inclusive and welcoming. Our goal is for disabled people to have a very similar, if not identical, experience here with respect to campus accessibility to that of their non-disabled peers and counterparts. There are a lot of ways that we can do that. If you're working with a disabled person, what you do is you accommodate them, right? And again, that is part of it, right? We do need to ensure accessibility, but we can also do that by thinking differently about design and really incorporating higher levels of inclusion into the design process. One of the interesting and kind of exciting changes I've seen in the disability community in higher education and here on campus is that it's become more political, right, and more politicized, right? So years ago, and certainly when I was in college, right, there wasn't this collective kind of community around disability, not a huge sense of disability pride, but I would say in the last, 5 to 6 years, that's really shifted. The inequities that folks are bringing to light now are hundreds of years in the making, institutionalized over generations into all of these different systems, including higher education. So it's not an easy fix. It's going to take a really concerted effort across our campus to think differently about inequity, right? And including disability in that work. Disabled individuals do want to be in community. They do want to learn about disability history and disability rights, and they want to share their experiences with one another. I really do believe U of A values disability, and I believe that we value and promote universal design, which I think is probably the most practical way to get to equity. I don't think universal design is the end goal. I think it's a really brilliant set of strategies with lots of good applications for different experiences, whether they're academic or curricular, or the built environment, or online. And there are still inequities, and disabled people are still experiencing ableism. There's been a lot going on our campus and around the country with respect to politics and oppression, and universal design may have some really promising implications to address campus inclusion and better situate disability in that conversation.